Okay.
Normie, obviously we're playing Zebra this weekend. They've had a couple of good performances this season already. You guys expecting a tough challenge in Palmer?
Yeah, Mike. Look, they're a decent team. They have a new attack coach, Mike. Dave Williams, that used to be at the Sharks. He went to Bath, so it's a South African guy coaching the attack. They've done really well against Leinster. Came close to the Sharks. I think they could have taken the Sharks. New personnel as well, players wise. So yeah, they're a good team and a well coached team. So we're looking forward to the game.
All right, and from our point of view, there are things that we're looking at this week that we think we can do better.
Yeah, look, I know we got the 5 points against Edinburgh, but we're still early days. Our second game of the season, and obviously there's a few things that we've picked up after the game that we need to improve. And us as a team and a collective, we need to improve in certain areas of the game, and so we're focusing on ourselves to make sure that we best possibly prepared come Saturday.
Perfect. Paul, from you, 2 starts this season already. You happy with the way things are going for you?
Yes, Mike. Just really grateful for the game time. Also coming from injury, so just trying to enjoy every minute I get on the field, and it's even better that we got 2 wins in the first 2 games.
Yeah, I suppose for someone like you played such an important role last season, and then you're obviously unlucky to miss out all the fun at the end. So is it really kind of trying to take this opportunity? Is that the way you're approaching it?
Yeah, Mike, I'm actually just trying to enjoy my rugby at the moment and not put too much pressure on myself. There's a lot of competition and good competition. Just trying to make the most of every game and just trying to enjoy it.
Yeah, sure. And the players around you must be making that easier in a lot of ways. You're playing between Ivan and Mani, so it's not a bad place to be.
Players, but with a lot of confidence, and just how sharp they are at the moment, it makes my job a lot easier. Yeah.
Okay, cool. We just lost you guys there for a couple of seconds, but you're back now. I'll turn it over to the other guys. Nathan's got his hand up, so Nathan, you can go for it.
Thanks, Mike.
Sorry, Nathan. Can everyone just mute their stuff because there's sound in the background that makes it difficult?
Okay, I'll sort it out. I'll go and mute whoever's not muted.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, but Nathan can't be muted because he's got a question.
100%.
Okay, thanks, Mark. I just got a question for each. Normie, I'll start with you. Good day, Normie. There's been lots of talk around the water break rule. Some say it defeats the purpose of a slight home advantage when the game is in the southern hemisphere with warm and hot conditions, as you'd probably have to deal with the cold and wet temperatures in the north. I mean, what's your take on that rule?
Look, Nathan, it's not, I guess whatever World Rugby does is probably for the better of the game. I can't tell you if it's right or wrong, but what I can tell you sometimes, like there was a long stoppage on Saturday, that they had to review something, and you're not really allowed to take water onto the field at that stage. The players must come to you in the technical area. So I don't think any player will run 50 meters to come and have water in that specific moment of the game, but once they're close to you, then they will do it. So it's quite I won't say it's a difficult question, but it's a tough question in a way, because for some players they enjoy it, some players don't enjoy it. But yeah, it's World Rugby's decision, and whatever they decide, I'll do to make the game better.
Sure. Then last one, Paul. How is the side settled up north?
Excuse me?
How is the side settled up north?
How did the side settle up north? Who's it?
Well, it's quite hot actually. It's very nice weather. It's a lot like South Africa. We enjoy it. I'm enjoying it.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, we've got Kamva next. Kamva, go for it. Unmute yourself. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Michael. Good afternoon, Norman, Paul. Just 2 questions from my side. When the traveling squad was announced, there were heavy hitters who who are left off the traveling squad. Perhaps, Norman, you could just explain to us what the thinking was behind leaving those names. And then the two South African teams that have been on tour already have been doing quite well. Is that pressure on you guys, or is it something that gives you confidence that you would be able to get wins on tour?
To answer your first question, look, the guys that have stayed behind is guys that has played quite a lot of rugby for the Springboks. I mean, they left after the final. The final was played on a Saturday. They left to the box on the following, literally the next day, the Sunday. They flew out to play 3 test matches against Wales. Then they had the championship. I think they had 2 days off in between. So obviously they're human beings and they also need rest like the rest of us. So that was the thinking behind it, to make sure once we get back, we have the freshest players possible for us to get the home part of the season, which is obviously quite important for player safety and so on. And to answer your second question, no, I don't think it put pressure onto us as a team, because we have certain goals that we would like to achieve in the 3 games that's lying ahead of us. And obviously, like I said earlier, it's to improve every single game. And for the past weekend that we played against Edinburgh, there were a few things that we weren't happy with that we are building on to make sure we get it right coming Saturday against Palmer, against Zebre.
Cool, thanks.
Nice one, Nomi. Thank you. Stephen is next.
Thanks, Mike. Can I ask Nomi in Afrikaans?
100% Stephen, dankie.
Natuurlijk, ja.
Ons sal ook gelukkig.
Lekker om julle eens te sien. Wat dink jy het vir Zebre in staat gestel om oor te gaan van die span wat jy jou punteverskil teen boost na 'n span wat naby kom teen Leinster, die Haie en dan ook vir Munster opdraande gee?
Steven, ek dink hulle is 'n span met baie confidence speel op die oomblik. Hulle is 'n goed afrigterspan soos ek gesê het. Hulle het 'n paar ouens bygekry soos byvoorbeeld Richard Kriel, die nuwe loskakel wat van Bristol afkom, wat vir 'n paar jaar daar gespeel het, wat die game baie goed kan aan beheer, either met sy skopvoet of met die manier hoe hy bal pas en ouens in gate sit. En ek dink ook hulle het 'n manier gevind soos wat vir hulle which suits them to play rugby op hulle manier. En ek gesê, ek dink Dave Williams het ook 'n groot verskil by hulle gemaak met bal in hand. En hy's 'n baie goeie afrigter, so ek glo dit wat hulle wil bereik, sal hulle bereik, maar dis soos jy sê, dis glad nie 'n span wat 'n mens kan onderskat op die dag nie. Hulle kon maklik die Sharks gewen het en hulle het vir Leinster ook, nadat hulle 15 of 18 punte agter was, ingehaal en 'n baie naby game gehad het op die einde van die dag.
Dit sal nie moeilik vir julle wees om daai punt by die span tuis te bring, dat luister, julle speel nie hierdie jaar of hierdie seisoen teen die span wat julle in Stellenbosch teen gespeel het nie. Dis eintlik maar net dit 'n naam, dis 'n heel ander ding.
Nee, ons het eintlik die game op Stellenbosch was regtig, ons actually gisteraand het ek 'n paar van die ouens daar gepraat, was regtig 'n baie goeie wedstryd van ons. Ons was baie klinies in wat ons gedoen het. Die ouens obviously, jy gaan nie op 'n rugbyveld om nie op te daag nie, maar elke ou was gemotiveerd en almal het geweet hulle is 'n baie goeie span ewen verlede jaar. Ek meen hulle het die Dragons gewen verlede jaar wat ook nie baie slegte span is nie na die einde van die seisoen toe. En ons was op ons beste gewees op daardie dag. En ons het die game baie goed beheer en ek glo die ouens weet wat van hulle verwag vir Saterdag, maar soos ek sê, dit gaan 'n taai wedstryd wees, goed afrigterspan, maar om terug te kom, soos ek gesê het voorheen, fokus op onsself om seker te maak die foute wat ons verlede Saterdag gemaak het, sal ons regmaak komende Saterdag.
Ja, as ek kan daai wedstryd onthou, dink ek was selfs 'n offload van Brock. So
Dis 100% reg, ja. Daar was 'n paar dinge wat daai wedstryd gebeur het wat mense baie min in rugby sien, maar ja, dit het gebeur.
En dan Noen, jy praat van die dinge wat julle wil op verbeter wat in Edinburgh wat vir julle fout was in Edinburgh. Wat is dit?
Kyk, Steven, obviously van 'n verdedigings kant af. Ek kan nie vir ons praat nie, maar daar's 'n paar goedjies verdediging gewys wat ek voel ons kon beter gedoen het. teen Edinburgh 'n klein bietjie vroeër en beter in plek gekom het om tackles uit te voer, die bal bietjie stadiger te maak by tye, hulle bietjie meer onder druk te kon sit. So dis klein goedjies, maar wat op die einde van die dag 'n groot verskil maak as dit kom by verdediging en spanne onder druk sit.
Mark, I'll interrogate Paul a bit later. I'll just give the other guys an opportunity. Thanks.
Cool, Stephen. Looking forward to that. Ashfaq is next.
Hi manne, hoop het gaan goed daar. Ek hoop julle het nog 'n bietjie Engels oor, want ek maak hier Engelse antwoorde.
Praat gaan met Paul vir 'n bietjie en dan sal ek my Engelse gaan reboot.
Okay, dan net eers Paul. Paul, ons ken nou, we know Zebre, the way they play attacking rugby is actually not too dissimilar to the Stormers try and approaching, but they really throw the ball around. Do you then as the Stormers try and hold back a bit and play more percentage game, or do you feel you guys can still stick to how you want to play ball in hand, take them on?
Engels of Afrikaans? Wat maak het so?
Engels asseblief.
I don't think we're gonna. I think we're gonna focus more on what we want to do and how we want to play each game. They are a good team and they throw the ball around and they have some really sharp backline players. So, but yeah, at the moment we're just focusing on ourselves. It's still early in the season and there's a lot of things we still want to get better at in our attack. So we have a plan to which we are working and I don't think we're gonna change much.
And just in terms of those attacking options for you, Paul, as a scrum half, Clayton Blommerkies is now not on tour, but we had a couple of new guys like Suleiman Hutchenberg bringing something different there, and also Dan du Plessis back from injury.
Yeah, it's very exciting players to play with. You know, every player you just mentioned now can make something out of nothing. So you have to stay on your toes when you play with them, but it's really exciting and they create a lot of opportunities for the players around them.
And then just Nomi, I hope the English is back now.
100%.
Just last year on tour, you guys had a difficult start there. You know, you were in the lead against Benetton and against Munster and lost both those games, and then you drew the third game. I think it was Edinburgh. And then eventually won a game. This time around, you've got 2 wins at home. But how do you approach in terms of the tour, getting off to a solid start and not losing it perhaps in the second half?
Ashfaq, yeah, I think last year was a great learning curve for us as management and for the players, obviously playing Southern Hemisphere rugby, Super Rugby for years and coming to the north, it was slightly different. The way they referee the game, the way the games get played by opposition teams. And also one thing that people forget, you play against Benetton week 1, which is probably 12 international players that plays for Italy. Week 2, you play against Munster, which is more than half of the Irish team. Then Edinburgh, which is half of the Scottish team. And then Newport Gwent Dragons, which we won at the end, which is also half of the Welsh team. So obviously you get tested by internationals every single week by a different country, which makes it quite exciting for us as management and as players. So to answer your question, going into these 3 games, we'll take our learnings that we've had from last year and just make it better this year so we don't make the same mistakes in the next 3 games that we've made last year in the first 4 games of the season.
Cool, nice one. Next is Adnan.
Thanks, Michael. How's it?
Adnan.
Guys? Ja, ek gaan net miskien terugskakel na Afrikaans toe. Voordat Steven vir Paul begin interrogate, soos hy sê. Ja, ek wil net geweet het, oukie soos Alapati, hy het mos baie in die noordelike halfrond gespeel en nou dat hy in die groep is, hy sal seker waarskynlik op die toer 'n kans kry. Wat 'n inside hy gehad in die span en die ervaring wat hy bring, is nou vir Norman en vir Paul.
Ja, ek kan sien hy bring baie ervaring en hy jy weet hy tel baie klein goedjies op in die oefening waarmee ons help. Hy het 'n ongelooflike goeie skill set So ek persoonlik sien baie uit om hom te sien speel. Maar ja, hy help ons baie met klein goedjies, hy help die centers baie en ja, dis 'n baie opwindende speler.
Ja, dan om aan te las by Paul, obviously ek dink hy is 33 jaar oud, 'n ou wat 33 toetse of 33 toetse gespeel het vir Samoa, is obviously 'n kwaliteit rugby speler. Ek dink hy was 2019 by die Wêreldbeker gewees. So dit wat hy na die span toe bring is fenomenaal. As 'n mens, obviously dit tel nogal baie in ons omgewing, hoe mense gehanteer word en hoe jy gehanteer wil word. So en dit doen hy briljant. Ek meen ek dink nie ons kan enigiets van hom af wegneem en ons is ook baie opgewonde om hom te sien speel wanneer hy speelkans kry op die toer.
Reg so, dankie.
Cool, Adnan, you're done there, hey? Kamva's got his hand up again. Go for it, Kamva.
Sorry, yeah, thanks, Michael. Sorry to belabor this point, Norman, but I just want to find out the answer about the resting of Springboks. How does those other reasons for the other players differ to a guy like Damian Willemse, especially given that the national setup is currently struggling for 10s? And I mean, I'm not looking into the future now and saying he'll be injured, but there is a real possibility that something like that might happen.
That was his choice, that he would like to play. Obviously, the strain, if you talk about the props that they have by Steven and France, the strain that they have from playing 60 odd minutes every single game in the front row, stopping 10 mauls. They must maul 10 times. They must scrum 12 or 15 times a game. Obviously, it's quite a lot. And both those players is 30 plus. Where Damien is 23, 24 years old, and he asked to come onto on the tour and would like to be part of the squad and he wants some rugby. That's the difference between, if I can answer the question like that, between the three guys that I just mentioned.
Cool, thank you very much.
Nice one, Normie. Okay, Paul, are you ready for Stephen?
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Thanks, Mikey. Paul, ek voel nou eintlik so 'n bietjie oud want ek is nogal 'n fan van jou pa. Maar ons praat altyd as ons met Dan praat, dan ons altyd gepraat, dan praat ons altyd oor Michael. So nou net in terme van die van jou spel en so aan, hoeveel inspirasie vat jy neem jy uit jou pa uit, en dink jy daar's baie van hom op YouTube nie, het jy al enige video's of soiets van hom, het jy hom sien speel en hoeveel inspirasie op video's en hoeveel inspirasie neem jy uit wat hy ook vir die WP gedoen het?
Nee, ek het hom nog nooit sien speel nie. Ek het so 'n bietjie op YouTube al die Karkab highlights gekyk waar hulle hier en daar 'n klip wys. Ek hoor hy was maar die vinnige een met die min ball sense wat net langs die kant gestaan het. Maar ja, my pa, hy wil ook net hê ek moet, hy weet ons op twee heeltemal ander posisies, hy wil ook net hê ek moet 'n loopbaan vir myself maak, ek moet my eie rugby geniet. Hy sit nie druk op my nie, hy gee my goeie kritiek, ons het 'n baie goeie verhouding, oor my rugby, hy help my baie en maar ek weet hy wil nie ek moet agter Bertie de Wet speel nie, hy wil ek met my eie game speel en met my ja.
En as ek nou net ook kyk na jou spel, is veral goed jy weet in die ondersteunend. Jy weet jy die manier waarop jy by die aanval ook skakel en so aan. Sal jy sê dis jou sterkpunt in terme van daai aanvallende aspek en dan jy weet watter aspekte van die spel wil jy nog in beter raak?
Wel, ek wil in alles nog beter raak. Ek wil my spel so goed afgerond maak soos wat ek dit kan doen, maar die ondersteuning, ek weet nie, die mens kom net reg agter, die mens Jolman het en op die oomblik die patroon wat ons speel, skep baie sulke geleenthede. Jy weet ons het baie goeie en vinnige losvoorspelers. Dit is slim agterspelers wat moeilike balle wegkry en jy weet ek is maar gewoonlik wel of die paar keer wat ek jy weet as ek maar net op die regte plek gewees op die regte tyd. Ja, so ek dink dit het 'n groter deel van my game geraak en jy weet ek wil opbou met dit, maar ek sal graag nog so 'n bietjie meer wil aanval en meer afgeronde skop game kry en ja, daar's redelik baie in my spel wat ek wil verbeter.
Steven, as ek net iets kan bylas, en Paul is 'n baie nederige ou en hy sal dit self sê nie, maar ek meen dit wat hy op die veld doen is elke liewe dag eers op die veld om sy paaswerk te verbeter, sy skoppe te verbeter. Hy is altyd wil altyd ietsie beter weet of gunstig vir enige kritiek of enige positiewe goeders oor sy game, so hy elke liewe dag wil hy net verbeter en is presies wat hy gesê het. Maar soos ek sê, ja, sy paaswerk en daai tipe van goed werk hy elke liewe dag voor en na oefening. Saam met enige ander van die ouens wat extras wil doen, net so hard soos enige ander ou.
Dankie Norm. En Paul, tot watter mate spoor die kompetisie in die groep jou aan? Jy weet dit uiteraard vir Hirsch wat 'n springbok is, jy het vir Stef Ungerer, vir Gardler, daar's nogal baie diepte op skramskakel.
Ja, daar's regtig baie diepte op skramskakel op die oomblik en dit bring die beste uit almal uit. Maar ons is ook 4 verskillende spelers en die afrigters het 'n plan daarmee wat jy weet wat se of 2-9 hulle miskien oor die naweek wil speel en mense respekteer dit. En ja, dis jy weet as ek my spel so goed as moontlik kan kry in al die aspekte, jy weet ek hoop hoe beter kan ek kompeteer teen jy weet in elke tipe wedstryd wat ons wil speel.
Hoe groot 'n frustrasie was dit vir jou om hier in die pylvak van die toernooi verlede seisoen beseer te raak en is dit vir jou motivering vir hierdie seisoen?
Ja, ek is nie verskriklik kwaad gewees oor dit. Dit is deel van die game. Jy weet dit almal gaan deur sulke goed. Dit was gelukkig ook nie te ernstig geweest nie, maar ja, dit natuurlik wou ek baie graag deel gewees het van die laaste 4 wedstryde. Ek was 'n groot deel van die seisoen betrokke gewees. En ja, ek het dit verskriklik baie geniet. En vir die seisoen, die motivering, wel ja, ek gaan nie jy weet daai 4 wedstryde wat ek gemis het my eintlik net laat besef weer dat 'n mens bietjie minder druk miskien op jouself moet sit en net seker maak 'n mens geniet die tyd wat jy op die veld het, want jy weet nie wanneer jy so iets kan oorkom nie. So ja, ek geniet dit op die verskriklik baie om jy weet net beseringvry te wees en te kan speel op die oomblik.
Nou net laastens vir my en jou julle as 'n span het nou 'n baie trotse rekord. Jy weet ek dink is nou al 13 wenne in 'n ry. Hoe voel julle oor daai rekord en het julle spesifieke doelwitte gestel vir die toekoms of is daai statistiek as sulks nie regtig 'n eintlike gesprekspunt nie?
Is dit vir my Steven of vir Paul?
Eintlik ek sal graag hoor wat julle albei daaroor sê as dit reg is.
Geen probleem. Steven, is iets om eerlik vir jou te sê wat ek nog glad nie aan gedink het van verlede jaar af nie. Jy vat net elke wedstryd vir wedstryd en seker te maak jy's die beste moontlike voorberei vir daardie wedstryd wat kom. En obviously daar's geen afrigter in die wêreld wat afrig of beplan om 'n wedstryd te verloor nie. So die feit dat dit nou so is, ek het nie eens geweet dit is soveel nie, maar eerlike waarheid, ons vat dit net week vir week en elke week wil ons net die beste van elke speler verwag en dieselfde van die afrigting span ook seker te maak ons tentoon die beste moontlike spel vir die mense wat daar buite kyk en wat ons ondersteun en seker te maak ons doen dit goed waarvoor ons lief is.
Cool, thanks, Steven. Mark. Nice one. Dylan, you got your hand up.
Yes, thanks, Mark. Afternoon, guys. I hope you're both well. Just a question for Norman, please. Well, we've mentioned the Springboks have been left behind. You've also taken along a couple of youngsters, guys like BJ Dixon and Suleiman and Sasha. How important can this tour be for them, just exposing them to sort of conditions that they're not used to playing in South Africa? How much of a growing point can this be for guys like that?
Look, I think it's a massive opportunity for them to come into the squad, and especially like guys who's Suleiman, that had 2 starts the past 2 weeks, and that they can just definitely learn from those experience being here, and especially being around some of the older guys that's been at Super Rugby, been with the last year in the URC, playing, not playing next to a guy like Brock, but being in the same squad as a guy like Brock Harris, that's played in Europe for 7 years and played for the Stormers. So yeah, I think they can take massive. They can take a lot from this next 3 weeks and learn a lot from the next 3 weeks, and especially bring it back to South Africa. And when we come back to Europe, if they do get a start or a game here or there, just make the most of it, which is obviously the most important part. And any rugby player would like to get an opportunity.
Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Normie. All right, we've got Ashfaq to end us off.
Norman, just in terms of the breakdown battle, it tend to be where if you're away from home, the calls tend to go against you, especially if you're playing in Europe, compared to when you're at home. So you've got an Irish ref this weekend, and as we said, Zebra play this attacking ball in hand game, so there's going to be a lot of breakdown battles. How do you adjust your approach there? Because obviously timing is of the essence, and sometimes you can also get away with things if the referee allows it.
Yeah, look, Ashfaq, that's one thing that we try and pride ourselves on. Obviously, you need to adapt according to the referee on the day. I think we did well on Saturday when Frank Murphy was the referee. We adapted well, and we basically got a few stuff. But it's tough if you play away from home. Obviously, like I said, you don't want to let the referee come in between you and the scoreboard, and just make sure you're on the right side of the referee on the day, and make sure you're as clean as possible, so the 50-50s don't also go your way instead of their way. That's basically what I can tell you. Other than that, we'll just be trying to keep the quiet silence.
Thanks, Normie. All good, guys. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mike.
Enjoy the rest of the week.
Okay,
Thanks, sir.
yeah,
Take it easy.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, bye.
Cheers.